Welcome to The Fiction, where the uncomfortable questions live. I'm Ifeoluwa, and this is where we sit with what most people run from. This is not a comeback story. Not the kind where someone fails, suffers, then rises triumphantly, and the audience finally exhales. Not the kind that gets a standing ovation at conferences. Not the kind in every book you've read where failure is mentioned briefly before the real story supposedly begins. That kind of failure isn't real, or rather, it is only allowed to be real once success arrives to redeem it. I want to talk about the other kind. The kind that makes you unqualified. The kind the world tells you it doesn't need. The kind that goes quiet because nobody handed it a spotlight. The failure that makes you wallow. The one that tells you you have no seat at the table. That's the failure we'll talk about today. Because let's be honest, nobody actually talks about it. Not really. What they talk about is failure with a resolution attached. Failure with a lesson neatly packaged at the end. Failure that already knows how it turns out. But for the person sitting in it right now, no breakthrough in sight, no comeback forming, no room about to clap for them. That person has been told, without anyone saying it directly, that their experience has no voice yet, no place, not until success shows up to make it presentable. I know this because before this podcast even existed, I sat with that failure myself. I sat with that fear. I remember staring at my microphone, wondering if I should just throw away my notes and ramble, or stay hidden behind a structured script. I was hungry to speak, but terrified to record. And underneath the hesitation was a bigger question I couldn't shake. Is it strange to want to speak when you're still finding your voice? But you're still wrestling with what you believe? Can someone mid-reconstruction even be allowed to speak? And yes, I fell for the same line everyone falls for. That you need to have arrived somewhere before your voice is valid. And isn't it strange that we hardly push back on that rule? Nobody questioned it. We just observe it, quietly, without a fight. And that's exactly why most of us stay stuck. It's why we wallow. It's why some people go completely silent. Because somewhere along the way, you accepted that your failure isn't worth talking about. Not yet. And here's what I think about that. I do not think value and failure are two separate things. They are two sides of the same coin. And a coin with only one side isn't currency. It's fake. So failure is not a backdrop waiting for success to arrive and give it meaning. It deserves its own light. A few weeks back, I came across something that I read on Instagram, and it goes, try by all means to succeed. Because if you don't, there will be no evidence that you ever tried. And at first it sounded like fire. It sounded like motivation until I thought about it more. Because what it quietly does is to make failure invisible. It tells you your effort only counts if the outcome is visible. That the trying, the actual doing, is worthless without the result. And that is a very, very dangerous thing that we've absorbed without questioning. Now think about the scientist the one who works and works towards the breakthrough society is waiting for and never gets there. Society marks that point as failure and moves on really, really fast. But where society stops, but they put a full stop, but they see as failure, that is someone else's starting point. That is data. That is working knowledge. That honest record of what didn't work and why. That is what the next person builds from. Not from scratch, but from that experience. See, failure is a feedback. It is an honest map of where not to work. And by living it, by documenting it, you can sit across someone still trying to find their footing and say, this is what I tried. It didn't work. Here is why. And that one conversation could save months, maybe years, of someone else's wasted time. And here's the thing I actually need you to hear. We live in a culture where many people do not even try. They romanticize the idea, talk about it, think about it, and never ever lift a finger. Never take the first step. Never make a single move. And that's because most people are trapped in an outcome mindset. We are paralyzed because we are waiting for a guaranteed trophy, a clean win, or external applause before they even step into the field. But here's the difference. You didn't do that. You made a move. You tried. And by all standards that society have, they will say you failed. But in doing that, you shifted into a mastery mindset. And when you shift your focus to mastery, the game completely changes. You stop chasing a flawless record and you start chasing depth. And sincerely, depth isn't found on the stage. It is found right here, in the dark. Looking at a mess that might never clean. Looking at a mess that might never get cleaned up. When you chase mastery, failure stops being an identity that stains you. It becomes the raw material you work with. You realize that the value wasn't in winning the game. The value was in your willingness to look at your wreckage, accept that no one may ever clap for it, and still say, this is mine, this matter, and this is where I learn. Failure is not a waiting room you sit in until success makes you presentable. Nah, it's not when a child is soiled and a parent comes and cleans them off to show them off to the guest. It is the raw mastery, the raw material of your mastery. But the more uncomfortable truth is this: you dismiss your failure way too easily. Maybe because of fear, maybe because of what society told you it means, maybe because holding it, really holding it, sitting with it, extracting what is harder than rushing past it and hoping the next thing works. And so the experience goes unprocessed, unspoken. But let's be honest. Let's really be honest. Sometimes we don't process it because we did rather stay comfortable in the identity of the wounded one. The one who almost made it. The one who was so close. Holding your failure without turning it into a sad story or a badge of victimhood is sometimes harder than rushing to the next attempt. That's the real work. So before you go, please listen. You are qualified. Not when you succeed. Not when the breakthrough comes. Not when the room finally claps for you. Right now, right here, as you are in the middle of it, you are qualified to teach, to share, to speak, to guide. Even if it's just to one soul. To keep moving until the bigger picture becomes clear. Every effort, every attempt, every friction you experienced on your way to becoming more, it matters far more than the world has ever painted it. And while I don't have a book of successes I'm proud to show you yet, I do have a book of failure, a failure ledger. And maybe it's time you started keeping yours. Not to drown in it, but because we rarely build a real record of what we tried and what it cost us. We only keep the trophies. And I want to tell you why this matters. As a child growing up in Nigeria, Sunday evening had a specific routine. We would gather around munching on snacks, waiting for Tales by Moonlight on NTA. And whether it was real life or on that screen, the adults didn't just tell us stories of flawless heroes. They sat us down to tell us about the tortoise who let greed crack his shell. They put the mistake right there under the light so we wouldn't walk the same exact path. Your failure ledger is that exact thing. It is your own moonlight story. It is where you take the things that cracked you, strip away the shame, and look at it until they become working knowledge for your next season. It is wisdom that you can hand down. Because here is what we conveniently forget. The very thing we celebrate is a result of the failure we despise. That success didn't show up on its own. It flew because some failure somewhere gave it wings. So the real question is this: who told you you had to succeed before you were allowed to speak? That's the friction for today. Whatever they stirred in you, sit with it. And yeah, share with someone else who needs it too. I'll see you next time.